moment. I'll set it up, but it'll be near the end of my presentation on Alex Nino.
Okay, cool.
Fancy.
All right.
Very fancy.
Hello.
Hello. Greetings.
Hello. I don't know what to say when I'm in crowd like this. You know, how do I usually call them a worm, but you guys are not the worms.
Oh, thank you for noticing. Yeah, I appreciate it.
Oh, thanks for not denying me.
Or are we honorary worms when we're in your presence?
Okay.
If it's a term of affection, then fine. I could be a worm. I could be crawling and so forth. No problem.
We have to confess to being bookworms in our own way. Right?
Well, most certainly. Yeah,
Yeah,
most
yeah.
certainly.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is that that's why I'm okay with the like CJ saying hello worm. He means the bookworm, right?
It's a term of endearment, not of derision, I'm sure.
Hey, Psychedelic Comics.
Hey, Psychedelic. Hey, bud.
But we're not here to show art by worms tonight, are we?
If we are, I prepared for the wrong stream. Let's hope not.
Anyway, I asked these gentlemen to, prepare your Asian American Pacific Islander arts, because tomorrow,
from the Bronze
Age, starting tomorrow, it's going to be what they're going a lot of like otaku, K-pop, what's his name?
Cantonese comic kid, right?
Yeah, and then E-Man. All these guys we are getting together, and each of our channels. Since we used to do the co-stream, but I mean, now that we don't have those expensive streams anymore, what we decided to do was each channel have their own guest, but we use the same theme, as if we are showing that we're doing it together, and we're going to co-host here and there, So I just want to use this stream to promote them, and I asked Roger and Sleepy Reader to bring their favorite art from I want to say more when we were children, right? I mean,
right. Well, I think we did end up all picking Bronze Age.
Yeah.
People, maybe your person is bronze and copper. I'm not sure.
I think mine's more copper than bronze, but but
that's still 30, 40 years back at this point. So.
Yeah, and because these guys right now, starting next month, they're going to be presenting mostly young people. So I thought, hey, I want to feature some, people from the past, and bronze, and
maybe these guys are more like the trailblazers that led the path to the explosion of Asian Pacific artists during, even the 90s, but certainly in the 21st century.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm actually quite surprised that there were so many Asian American, Pacific Islanders back in those days. So I was really surprised by that. And so that's what we're gonna do. I will have a schedule ready whenever I'm gonna have one of these gentlemen start first. How we want to do this? You want to show it a little bit at a time, or you want to do a little feature on the person? Why don't you?
I have a lot of material, so I certainly could go around in a circle.
Yeah, we could do a couple rounds. Yeah, sure.
Show a little bit, then go on, and then show a little bit more, go around. You want to do that?
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Hey Ben, how are you?
Hey Ben. Good to see you.
All
bud.
right, so I'm gonna slip you going first, so I could go ahead and
Okay.
pick a.
So my pick is Alex Nino, if that's the correct Nino. He
Nino.
is from the Philippines. He was part of the early wave of Filipino artists that kind of, at least for those of us who were art fans, took the world by storm. I don't think they weren't big in superhero comics for the most part, but in all the other areas, they were a huge representation. And Alex Nino, you would find all the time in DC mystery magazines. You never know when you're going to open it up, and there's another Alex Nino. This is fairly early, and I point that out because his style became weirder and weirder over time.
Yeah.
This is, I guess, during the 20-cent era, so when I first started reading comics, and his art's always a treat for me to to stumble across. He just appears in all these different weird places. This is a horror story, and then he worked on these Marvel
Time
classics.
Machine.
Which one of you had the black and white versions, or was that someone else in one of your streams, Roger?
I have the Classics Illustrated version of the Time Machine.
Oh, okay. There was a company that did. Someone on YouTube showed these black and white classics, which Marvel then purchased and colorized.
No, that wasn't me.
Here's Alex Nino doing the Time Machine,
Oh, cool.
and so it has a more kind of like a boring font there, I guess, to make it seem more serious. Literature, parents won't be upset.
More like literature.
His illustrations themselves are just fantastic.
I love that right there. That's
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
really
it's a good choice.
he kind of stands alone. It's hard to really compare his art to anyone else that I can think of.
Yeah, agreed.
Which is part of why I chose him, because he's just such a unique voice.
no that.
Will
gosh.
Portacio, who's also from the Philippines, mentioned him as an influence, but I don't see anyone whose art style is directly like his. So that makes him really cool.
I mean, it kind of have like a little bit of an Al Williamson vibe to it, but
maybe
it's still
early
different.
on.
Yeah.
So then in Rima, which actually is one of my favorite comics, and the main story, Rima the Jungle Girl, is drawn by another Filipino artist, Nestor Redondo, who I couldn't, there was like 4 or 5 Filipino artists I wanted to choose, but there's a backup in here, a science fiction backup called Space Voyagers, and every issue there was another. It was written by Robert Kanigher, and there was another short science fiction story starring these people going to different planets, shades of Star Trek, I suppose. This page,
the other guys are too there.
Sorry,
it looks like other guys are the previous artists you showed.
This is still Alex Nino.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry if I confused you. So the front part of the comic, the main story, is by Nestor Redondo. But then there's every issue. There's this backup by Alex Nino. So his stuff would just show up in weird places. But I particularly want to mention this because this page, I own the original artwork for it, which I'm going to now show you. And then I'll pass things on to Roger. So here is the original page.
Oh,
beauty.
Love that.
And you can really, I mean, the newsprint did not do him justice with all the fine line work he did.
Yeah.
It has that effect on line work that it kind of dumbs it down a bit. Yeah,
it still looks good in the news.
Oh, certainly.
But it's
hey,
really
Jeffrey. Yeah, that's a good page to have, I'd say.
Wow.
Yeah, I was really excited when I had the opportunity to buy it. Well, I have other issues of Rima. It's all kind of, I think at this point, why don't we move along and I'll show you other stuff.
Okay.
In a bit.
All right.
Yeah.
So no surprise, right? I mean, Naman knew what I was going to pick, but it's Kim San-ho, a South Korean artist who was born in 1939. He's still with us.
Wow.
And in Korea, he was actually known for creating this character called Leafy or Lifey. I'm not sure how it's pronounced. Lifey, and which was a character which actually was set in the future, but it was sort of from what I understand, it was a during the Korean War. It was sort of a character that was very patriotic,
right,
for the people.
Oh, by the way, we have a Korean letter that pronounces L, L, lil, and it looks like an S.
Ah,
That's
funny, right? That's funny. So, and then later, obviously, he was very successful in South Korea, but but his talent was obviously known. So he was actually did some art for Charlton, and he mailed it, and it got lost. So that would have been his first work here in the United States.
Ouch.
But later on, it was found, and it was published in Charlton Bullseye #3.
Cool.
Ooh.
And it's called, ironically enough, it's called Wrong Country.
That is hilarious.
Right? Because the thing was lost in another country. But this story, if you look at it's a black and white. It was supposed to be in a color.
Yeah, I love that.
Charlton. Yeah. And it's essentially similar to what Yang is now, because once this was lost, Charlton got Cutie and Sattler to do Yang.
Look at the background work. I mean,
it's beautiful. Look at this lady here. Look at this.
Yeah.
I mean that sketch there. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
On
this side too. I love that work.
Sure.
Oh yeah.
And he had a lot of input.
Better that you have it in black and white, I think.
Right. I sent Nauman this because I knew that he would absolutely adore this, because this is like history here. Can you imagine if this had made it? There would be a comic book now that probably would have run much longer than Yang did. But that would have been his first story.
Wow.
And eventually he did move to the States. I think he was in Japan at that point. He eventually did move to the States and started doing work for Charlton primarily, but he did a lot of work for other publishers. But I'm going to show you a little bit of his Charlton work here, just in the covers. Of course, Nauman and I did this spectacular story.
Oh yeah, I love that.
and this is very unique comic, because if you can see here, it's in both Korean and English.
Oh, wow.
And it's based on a Korean folktale. And we had a blast, Nauman, doing this. I mean, we just had an absolute time doing that.
I read the Korean, and Roger read the English.
In English, yeah. I think I had the easier part, right? And what's interesting about Kim San-ho is that in Charlton, unlike most of them, this is the whole comic. This is an anthology comic, but he did this whole story. Yeah, there's Nauman's version over there. And he did that several times. And as far as I can tell, no other creator had the whole comic in these anthologies. And this one, he had almost the whole thing. It's called Bloody Mermaid.
Wow.
And again, it's one of these tales that is based on myths or legends, etc. And it's just gorgeous art in here. And here's another one. Actually, it's based on another comic, but this is the cover. And this is about an inheritance that is essentially, it's one of those stories where, like you're haunted by the inheritance kind of thing. And this is from an inside panel. I have the original here somewhere, but I don't know what I did with it. Oh, here it is. Here it is, right here. Here it is. And then he did about a series of 8 issues of Ghost Manor, where he did all the covers, and then he did an interior story. And this ghoulish looking guy is kind of like the host. Okay. And that's number 6. He also started with 4. Last of the Glory. Notice his signature here is like that S you're talking about, and Kim here. And here's a really cool 5, where that's the story I was just telling you about, where the inheritance. If you can notice the similarity here, it's the same characters. All right. And what else? And we have this one here, kind of a bifurcated. You got the hosts, and they're both having a different experience in their stories here. And again, he had a lot of input into the stories. Although if you notice, the writers, like he's not credited, but I later found out that he did in fact have input into these stories, because he was a storyteller as well as an artist.
So was he living in the U.S. for a long time, or
Yes.
just a short time?
Yes, he moved in here in the 70s, but he did leave, I think, in the late 80s or 90s.
He came to the United States because at the time in Korea, they were censorship was horrible at the time. So he wanted to come to the United States. I don't know if did he barely escape the United States censorship himself?
I guess so, right?
Was that a period of military dictatorship at the time?
They went through several presidents since they had a one dictator. I mean, not a dictator, but a president. We call it President Eisenhower, but he was sort of kind of puppet president, because he was placed in there as American, American put him in there. He's like he's half Hawaiian, and then I mean, not half Hawaiian, but he didn't speak English, just like me. He would me speaking Korean, But
all right, I got more to show, including some stuff he did for Marvel, and then I got some original art. But let's keep the cycle going here.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and show a little bit of it. First of all, let me see if I could show you guys the. Hold on. Let me go ahead and show my stuff real quick. I decided that I'm gonna go with the LaRouque, Greg LaRouque. Now Greg LaRouque, he's still in the circuit. He's still going to trade comic book cons, but I don't know which cons he's going to. And I wanted to contact him, but because of my condition, I didn't try to contact him. And also the guys, K-pop, otaku, Jeff, these guys are running this show, and they wanted somebody new. So
you interviewed him in one of your other seasons.
Yeah, I interviewed him 12 times. I'll provide the link below.
I remember them being very good interviews. I enjoyed them.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, and this is I think he did.
Oh.
If I could, I'll show you the cover one first. This one first. So this is a Greg LaRouque's art. The cover, and he also did interior on this one. And he also worked for DC.
Yeah, some nice guy sent me that one with his signature.
Which nice guy is that?
Some nice guy from Northeast somewhere. I don't know.
And this one, he did the interior work. I think somebody else did the cover on this one.
Yeah, Ed Hannigan did the cover.
Yeah.
It's an iconic cover.
And then I'll show you some of this. I'll show you more later. But this is a sketchbook I got from LaRouque. You guys, he's a colorblind, by the way.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, he's colorblind.
I missed out on that fact.
I can relate.
Yeah.
Are you colorblind?
You'll see in
Slightly,
this book,
yes.
there's not much color in this.
I can't tell apart like browns, purples, and blacks very well.
And I'm going to show you a gorgeous Dawn Star later on. But
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did a long run on the Legion in the 80s.
Right.
What
and
do you
maybe
say?
90s, I think. He did a long run of the Legion of Superheroes in the 80s and 90s, I do believe.
But by the way, Sleepy, I got to know him because of you, Sleepy. I mean, Damien.
Oh, I might have just pointed you towards his son's channel or something.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
No good, no good, right?
Both of us were at the
Yeah,
no,
Justin of No Good Comics.
Instead of no good.
yeah, Nova Comics, and I was there, and you were there, and then you asked Justin if I think you asked him about Justin's dad, and then that's when I found out that Greg LaRoque was Justin's dad. So I said, Justin, come here, Justin, come here.
Well, until he talked about his dad, I didn't even know that they were from the Philippines. So that was good to know, because the name LaRoque, that could be from a lot of different places.
Could be
Yeah,
French,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
I mean, yeah.
And he could actually be mistaken for. He could actually be mistaken for not Asian at all.
Well, the Philippines, I'm not sure. It seems like it's a mix of different groups.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, I definitely can tell that Justin is Asian. But anyway, yeah. Yeah, he is he came to us twice and on our channel and but and I went to his show, and he actually snuck me in as a
Yes,
vendor,
Vendor,
on a show. So
that was
I got
nice.
to go to the show
Yeah,
for
man.
free. Yeah, but I'll show you his work before. But he did a Legion, so I'm sure Roger will appreciate that.
Sure.
And Dawn Star and all that stuff. But
Yeah, man, his Legion stuff was really solid, honestly.
yeah,
And,
I mean,
and let me tell you,
he's
that's a
artist.
hard comic to draw because there's so many characters, so many costume variations. It's a chore.
So these are the type of these are the type of characters he was able to draw for the Marvel and DC.
He
And
really
I'm
worked
really-
in the heart of the core superhero world.
Yeah.
An achievement. Not many people get to draw so many different superhero books.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Spider-Man and Flash and all of those.
you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, Slippy, and
Okay.
I'm gonna look for something here.
So after doing a lot of short pieces for DC that just appeared all over the place, he started working for Marvel also, mostly in their black and white comics.
Oh, Rampaging Hawk, really?
Yeah, and so this one, he was the inker / finisher. So it was kind of rough pencils by Jim Starlin, and then it just looks like Alex Nino art, but it's Jim Starlin underneath.
Yeah, must have been just very faint breakdowns.
Yes. Obviously, Starlin trusted him to do his own thing with it. He certainly wasn't a tracer.
No.
And I'm just randomly flipping. Whoops.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Let me bring it back.
Oh, is that the schedule coming up?
Schedule, yeah.
So it made for a really wild. I have to show interiors because Nino almost never did covers. This is a wonderful cover by Jim Starlin. But
Oh, okay, cool.
so anyway, so yeah, he became a regular in these black and white magazines, and it was always, of course, very exciting to find his work there. So I've got some other examples. He was in several issues of Unknown Worlds of Science Fiction, which adapted short stories by famous science fiction writers of the day.
Yeah, that's beautiful work in there.
In this one, he works on Behold the Man, which I read as a kid. I read the novel or whatever it was, novella.
Novella, novelette. Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
Wow.
Did not understand it at all.
Yeah.
Wow. That
Um,
is some intricate art.
Might be sacrilegious. I don't know. Some guy goes back trying to find Jesus, but ends up doing Jesus things himself instead. But anyway, and here we're seeing him still pretty illustrative, if you will. But then let's see, in this other one where he's adapting "Repent, Harlequin Said the TikTok Man" by Harlan Ellison.
Mhm.
His art gets really wild, which I guess fits the story. But as you go along in his career, the wildness of his art just
Yeah, that panel layout is just
amazing
bizarre.
panel layouts, just crazy visuals. And I do confess that at times it's hard to follow.
Mhm.
It pays off if you take the time to figure out what's going on, but it can be tricky.
Yeah.
Let's see. And then he did I think this was a whole
Ooh.
super thick magazine where he and Roy Thomas and Doug Mensch did a story called "Man Gods from Beyond the Stars," which was I assume a response to Chariots of the Gods.
Yeah.
And that
I
whole
would
kind of
agree with
thing.
that. Yeah.
But this is a beautiful book, and I don't think it's too expensive. If you want some Alex Nino art, I think this is a great choice.
I agreed. Absolutely agree.
I'm just randomly flipping
The
some pages.
large black and white art just really brings out the details in there.
Yeah. I think black and white is the
I would have
best
saw
way.
some of those arts in the heavy metal. Are you sure he wasn't in heavy metal as well?
Yes, he was. Yes,
I
he
think
was.
he was in heavy metal.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I did not dig through my heavy metal boxes because I had no idea where to look there.
Oh, right.
Because I went to Mike's Amazing that website, and it didn't list his heavy metals. It listed a lot of stuff, but not his heavy metals. So then, after he did that work with Roy Thomas, Roy was like, "Hey, I want him to do some Conan." So he was in Savage Sword of Conan #6.
Oh.
Doing a story called "People of the Dark," where
Look at
someone
that.
from the
Nice.
present goes back into the past and ends up inside Conan's body.
Hey, Jackson, how you doing, buddy?
Wow.
Wow. Yeah, his layouts are just so unique.
They're wild.
Oh man, I love them.
And they're real works of art. I mean,
Yeah.
the amount of effort he was putting into it compared to a lot of artists is just kind of stunning.
Look, that could. Did he meet his deadline with that kind of art?
I don't know. I haven't read about any deadline problems.
I think these might have been bi-monthly, so maybe he had a couple months.
Yeah, and they switched artists, so they probably gave him time. But although the Filipino artists were known to be very hard workers to really put out a large number of pages at high quality.
Yeah, they were very hard workers and very fast workers, from what I understand.
Right.
Again, we're being general here, but I mean that was the rumor at least.
And I think most of them stayed in the Philippines. To them, it was a very high page rate, even though it probably wasn't a very good page rate by American standards. So, and then interesting, that story appears in this Treasury edition too.
Oh.
In color. So here's similar pages in color.
Oh, beauty.
Now here, at least we have it in large size. So I think
the
color doesn't ameliorate the quality of the line.
Did he make any cover yet?
No covers. No
really?
covers.
Yeah,
I think he was so non-standard they were afraid to put his work on the covers.
He did. I mean, I can show you.
He probably has some, but I couldn't find it.
He inked a couple comment covers for Archie, but yeah, I think it's a frontline penciler. I can't think of one.
Yeah. So the covers are John Buscema covers.
Yeah.
So that's my coverage of his Marvel era, and we can
let me show you this real quick.
Okay. Oh, you have some Alex Nino there?
Well, I just want to show you. It's just the.
Well, let me go ahead and add this. Let me add this up real quick then. Okay, so this is a schedule for the uh, AA. Oh, I meant K-pop. I meant your channel for the live streams.
Hey, thank you, Katie.
uh, uh, the on the AAPI Herjman, these are the schedules. K-pop is doing like a 4 shows right now. Otaku is doing 4. I'm doing 1. Jeff is doing 1. I may add a couple more. I don't know that yet.
That's quite a lineup.
Yeah, so this is like a May 1. We're gonna have a Carl Choi and May 7 Mile Park. You guys don't know any of these guys?
Yeah, I know Tony Moy and Sean Chen and Bernard Chang.
I know Stephen Yu and Ryan
Stephen Yu, yeah.
yeah.
Ryan Odagawa.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
work quite a bit.
yeah.
And of course,
So-
Luck Win, I know from your channel.
Yeah. Ryan and of course, yeah. So these guys going to be on there, and I think K-pop will provide the link whenever. I think K-pop could bring the link to our May 1st episode, and then
That's tomorrow, right?
yeah, that's tomorrow. That's tomorrow. And then
diving right in. She's gonna get things started.
Yeah, man.
yeah, and Otaku probably will show his channel on Ryan Odegawa on 2nd. So okay, K-pop is
It's
working
quite
on it.
exciting, and it's nice. There are so many. Maybe there should be even more, but there are so many Asian and Pacific Islander people involved in comics now. It's refreshing.
Yeah,
it was a hard thing to do back then because you had to live in New York City.
Yeah, and I know K-pop is not Asian American, but if you're the channel host and you want to, present the Asian artists on your channel, I mean, I don't know, it could be part of the, future team. I mean, that's my thoughts anyway. We don't know yet, but we'll talk about that next year.
K-pop is, she's all into, Asian culture. So
yeah. She's an honorary Korean.
Yeah,
me.
correct. I mean, you might as well,
She is a master interviewer. She does it all the time.
Correct.
Yeah.
I would be intimidated, but she's on top of that.
She's a cool customer, that's for sure.
All right, I'm gonna go. Let's we on Rogers right now.
Yeah. I just wanted to show you that the one cover I know that Nino inked over Carmine Infantino, which is
that's an interesting combo.
Yeah. So it's this one here, Comet from
and
you can definitely see the Nino influence there.
You definitely can, yeah.
Yeah. But it's Carmine Infantino breakdowns over that. So that's the only one that I could think of off the top of my head.
I don't own the Archies. There was a period where Nino worked for Archie, and that's on my list of things to start looking for.
Yeah. All right. So changing gears back to Kim Sang-ho. Like I said, he worked primarily for Charlton, but he did some freelance stuff for Warren and Skywald. I don't have those, but I do have a couple of his Marvel magazine work, and it's beautiful stuff. And this one here is in Deadly Hands of Kung Fu number 16.
Oh, yeah.
With Sons of the Tiger on the cover. And it's called The Corpse Rider. Here. Another kind of legend stuff, right? And in this here, this man left his wife, divorced his wife, and she died of sorrow. And upon her deathbed, he cursed him to die, right? And according to the legend, after she dies, she would rise again as sort of the vengeful spirit. So the only way to protect herself was to actually be on her back when she reanimated. So he actually is a corpse rider, and he has to survive the night. It's wacky tale, but it's so well done. And there's other sort of subplots with ninjas and a friend that doesn't believe that the legend and so forth. You can tell this is Kim Sang-ho input on the story throughout, no doubt about it. No doubt about it. That is the zombie or whatever lady there who reanimated, and he's on her back until the sun comes up. And look at right there, you can see him riding her right there. Right there. A real intense story here. So that was one of his Marvel works. And this one, I wish he could have done the whole story because it is a wonderful story. It's called Sword Quest, and this is in Deadly Hands of Kung Fu number 25.
Yeah.
And this is like a 4 or 5 part story about it has a similar vibe to Wrong Country, but it's set in the more older in the 15th or 16th century, and it's about, you know, again, somebody whose father is sort of a foreign, not like for Japanese were at that time, I guess we're invading Korea all the time. And he was killed, and his son is seeking revenge. And the way he can do that, the only way he can do that is to have this sword and get the respect to others to follow him and so forth. So anyway, just beautiful art here. You can tell it's Kim Sang-ho, no doubt about it. It's
that's Korean. She's wearing Korean. That's a Korean uniform. I mean, that's Korean traditional clothing right there.
That's right. And they talk about Taekwondo. That's what he used to disarm the soldiers. And again, you can see the Kim Sang-ho manhwa style, which he originated here in the United States. This was not well known until he came over and did this.
Oh wow!
Here, I mean, it's just gorgeous stuff. Unfortunately,
I gotta get. Do I have that book?
I don't know.
I'm gonna get that book.
I don't know. But it is gorgeous, gorgeous stuff here. And again, you know, this is from 1975, 76. So I remember seeing this.
Writing or co-plotting credit?
Yes. I mean, he has a co-plotting, yes. But really, when you read the story, you can tell.
It sounds like he probably wrote it and they fixed the dialogue.
They translated or did the dialogue, yeah. Yeah.
You guys know anything about this? Oriental Heroes or Stone Riders? I don't know anything about it.
But another thing I wanted to say is he did various genres as well. He didn't just do this kind of historical stuff or horror. He also did westerns.
Yeah.
Cheyenne Kid. He did a long run on this, and you can definitely tell the manhwa style here in the face and the stones, right? And he also did what else do I got here? He did war titles. Like here he did Fighting Marines. And here it's two different panels here, but he did the art on both of these, on Honeycomb Hill and on the hidden guns in the DMZ.
DMZ, oh wow.
Yeah, demilitarized zone. Well, of course, you know what that is.
Yeah.
And let me show you a little bit of the interior here, because I when I got this, I was like, you know, maybe he didn't put as much of his, you know, emphasis. I didn't know he, you know, he was doing war comics or anything like that, right? Let me see. Hold on. Yeah, here it is. So that's the Honeycomb Hill one. And his style does look a little bit different because it's war. So he doesn't have the historical look on the faces. They're more modern looks. But you can definitely tell it's Kim Sang-ho stuff. Don't move.
Do either of you know, were there ever any published interviews with him or anything like that?
I have one in Korean version, but it's all in Korean.
Yeah. Naman sent me that.
And guess what? the guy had like 250 subscribers.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
and
this was like a video interview with him.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I asked that guy, and he just deleted my message. I asked him.
Bad. All right, but after all that, though, he did actually get back to Charlton and did a historical piece similar to Wrong Country. Wasn't Yang? It was his cousin, House of Yang.
House of Yang, yeah.
Yeah.
Got that.
And this will lead into the original art I'm going to show you. But he did the covers and the interiors, and of course, all three of us have interior art from this.
Can I show that since it's number one?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
And you can tell how lush this is. This is, I'm not sure if this is a charcoal or something. It's very deep and lush.
Yeah, it's not your typical cover art, either painted or drawn. It's quality.
It's something I can't quite identify, but
Can you?
yeah, make yourself big there, bud.
Maybe
Let me tag right there for a little bit.
It could be charcoal and then like
because he was going to show this. So he's going to show more, but here's some. This is from issue 1, Empress of Evil.
Yeah.
And thanks, Roger. For
Yeah, and like with Alex Nino, just seeing the original art is amazing. It's so beautiful.
As impressive as his comic work is, when you see the original art page, you are absolutely blown away. Absolutely blown away.
Yeah.
That's why when I saw that, guys, I was like, we can't let this opportunity pass us by because we may never see this again.
I never spent this much money on a.
Me either. But listen, I worked overtime after this to make up for this, right? But
page by page, it was a bargin.
It was a
in
major
the world of original art. It was an incredible bargain.
I mean, I think mine was like $50 a page or something.
Yeah,
essentially given away. I mean,
yeah, you don't get art even by not very well-known artists at that right. It's crazy.
Yep.
I'm gonna let you go, Roger.
All right. I'll just show a few more of the covers, and then we'll come back to the original art. And this, again, this is set, a little bit further in the future. I think around the turn of the 20th century, late 19th, something like that.
I see.
And but look at this cover here. Look at this.
I just have a. I'm gonna call up 산호 작가님. Let me hold on. Let me hold on. Let me. 산호 작가님, 저희 채널에 좀 와주세요.
All right. And here's number 4. All right. Then the next 2, he didn't do the covers, but he did some of the interiors. So let's go over some of the. By the way, we each have different comics. In other words, in the House of Yang.
Right.
Namen, you have 1. I have 2. And you have 4 and 6 or something. I forgot what it was.
No, I think I have 1. It's 4. I think it's 4.
Oh, just 4? I thought you won 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was a larger number of pages than the ones.
We lost the 3. We lost the 3. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Somebody else got the other one, like for obscene price. Yeah. Boy, this is hard to get in here, but again, you can see the style. You can see the lush backgrounds. He did not
look at that background with the different panel. That's art.
Oops. Yeah, that goes my phone. He's not Carmen Infantino on the backgrounds, okay? I mean,
he doesn't cheat or fake it on any level, right?
No. I mean, look at the cross hatching. Look at the shading there. I mean, you can tell when he sat down to do this, he put his heart into it.
Yeah.
I mean, look at that. Look at that big that. Why is it? I mean, I don't know why, but I don't know.
That dragon.
I'm not being racist or anything, but I think Asian Joe horse is so much better.
No, man. What are you saying? No, man. I'm gonna unsubscribe you.
Let's see your horses, Naman.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see your horses, buddy.
It runs in the blood, right?
Yeah, that's right. Let's put your money where your mouth is, bud.
Race war, race war.
And I have the first and the last page up here on my wall because I figure the last page has his signature on it, you know. So I wanted to put that, and the first one has a lot of action to it. So I figured that would be great. And then I made reproductions. Well, I guess I can sort of turn it around. You can sort of see up there.
Oh, look at you! Look at you!
There,
Oh.
up there.
Oh, and you put little reproductions of the page there?
Of the pages and the cover, yeah.
Oh, very
I don't know why I can't get this straight. There we go. Sorry about the glare there, but yeah. See, I work here to the right, so I see that every day, you know, and I'm like, I just in awe of it, honestly. And then lastly, I'll end with this because Nauman is the one who kind of turned me on to this one. It's the Sword's Edge. And there he's got it as well. Yeah, this is a little bit of naughtiness here, so I put tape over it. But it's classy done, you know. It's not like gratuitous, right? And this is a great little story that he wrote in this kind of flip. It's a strange format. It's almost like a notebook, but landscaped, right?
Like this.
And it's a great story of, you know, this guy who's like, yeah, he like runs into this lady and doesn't know who she is, and then he finds out anyway. And unfortunately, there was supposed to be a part 2 or more, and there was only one. But if you can find this one, it's great because it has such detailed art, even at this format. You know, it has incredibly detailed art.
Slippy, you have one of these? You have one of these?
I don't. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah.
I'll send you one.
You can find it like $20 to $25 on eBay, and it's well worth it, Damien. Let me tell you that. So again, he
was that self-published then, or
it's called it's, if you look at the spine here, right? It's called by Iron Horse Publishing Company, and it says printed in the United States. But I have a sneaking suspicion that he used
Iron
some
Horse
of his
publishing company.
No,
that he used some of his experience or contacts in the comic world to get that published. Yeah.
Let me show you something. Let me show you something about this right here. He says
the
first montage book, right? So he was playing with the words because Korean call it manhwa. Manhwa, and this also manhwa means like not moving picture but sequential pictures. And so isn't montage like a sequential movie thing, right? Montage,
right? When they flash a bunch of quick scenes, rather than longer.
It's a compilation of different scenes or different panels. Right. Yes, correct.
And so he used that as a manhwa montage, and so he named the
comic is kind of like a montage, right? It's a bunch of short still scenes. Well, and that was probably before the term graphic novel became popular. So everybody, when they were publishing things, was trying to figure out a name for what they were doing.
Yeah, good point. Good point. But again, you know, the fact of the matter is that this gentleman here, if he was on a superhero title or if he was on some kind of other publisher besides Charlton, he would be a lot more renowned, a lot more well-known, and a lot more sought after. But because, you know, Charlton's, at least when I was young, I mean, they were kind of like the redheaded stepchild, you know, of comics. I mean, if you had nothing else to get, you would get a Charlton. Yeah.
The fandom was not paying any attention.
No. Nowadays, though, you can't find them because all of a sudden they're popular, you know, but that's just the way it goes. You know, times, generation change.
Because we fans are older and wiser now.
I think that as well. Yes.
That is incredible.
Yeah. It's gorgeous stuff. It's just absolutely gorgeous stuff. All right, that's all I got for Mr. Kim Sang-ho. I think you know how crazy I am about his art. He's still with us. He's 86 years old.
Yeah.
I know Nama's been trying to get a hold of him. I've been trying to get a hold of him without any luck, unfortunately.
Sorry. All right. Who's the my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, let me show you the rest of Greg LaRoque's sketch. I think it was right in the middle. Oh, look at this, man. I don't know if I showed you guys this. Yeah, I think I showed you that one. Oh, look at this. Look at that. Now, after these, I'm going to show you the couple original art that I got from him.
Oh,
So,
look at that OMAC.
huh?
Look
Look
that
at OMAC. Hey, OMAC. He did OMAC.
Yeah, man.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, some nice guy gave me this one too, and it was signed by him. Look at that. Yeah, I've looked through this before. It's stupendous. That Dawn Star. Come on, man. Come on. Look at that. Jeez.
Yeah, I have a better one. Don't worry about it.
Well, I know yours is pretty good. Yeah.
Have you met LaRoque also, Roger?
I haven't met him. I was at a convention where he was at years ago, but I never got to meet him. No.
Man, this is just. Hey, Greg LaRoque complimented me on my drawing. He said, "Hey,
he's a nice guy." That
Did
shadow last
you're
there.
Asian. You do great horses.
Yeah, you do great horses. You do great worms, but
no, he wasn't impressed with my horses. He said, you draw like Americans. No, that's kidding. I'm just kidding, guys. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I really like his Legion work. I mean, again, his Legion to me, really accentuated that one there with Shadow Lass, especially right there. How like their powers are manifested in such a way, right? And he was so good at drawing how their powers are manifested. I thought he was excellent at that. At the level of Grell and Cockrum, I thought.
I want that one for original. There you go. Let me go ahead and show you. Let me show you the couple prints I got. Actually, not a print, but an original artwork. I'm really glad that I got to meet Greg LaRoque. They talk to him in a kind of personal level rather than just from a fan. He treated me
that must have been quite an experience, I would think.
He treated me like a family. That's what I liked. I liked about that meeting. So.
Well, a great thing about Greg that it's probably true of many other artists, but it's very clear he was a huge comic book fan. So he relates to us as we relate to him, because he has that same passion. When I was being interviewed by his son, by Justin on his channel, Greg was in the chat. And I would say stuff about what I loved in the 70s about Marvel. I think Greg's a little older than me, but he would be, oh, yeah, right. And you could see him getting all excited in the chat about comics I was talking about. So
I got that same impression when I talked to Mr. Beatty.
When he gave me this book, he told me all about this book, and when he was excited to work on this book with the. I'm supposed to say, what was this artist's name again?
That Ed Hannigan was the cover.
Yeah. So anyway, he was really excited that he was able to work with these artists of the time. So.
Yeah, and that must have been some of his fairly early work, I would think, in Marvel, because that's from the 70s, I do believe.
Yeah, that's a 70s book, isn't it?
So here's
Ah, Black Cat.
Why is her butt so small?
Well, Damien, not all of us have those attributes, buddy. Sorry. We kind of come as God made us, I'm sorry to say. Oh, yeah.
Lots of beautiful pictures.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's
Dawn
good.
Star, right? That's her name?
Dawn Star.
Dawn Star.
Yep.
And she
The
can
tracker.
track things through outer space, which I always thought was
Through
fun.
anywhere. Yeah, anywhere she can track. No matter where you are, what you do, she can find you.
Yeah, she has a tracking ability.
Yeah.
Kind of. You guys know what I thought about that.
Hey, let me tell you, it comes in handy when you're trying to follow some dude that you can't find. You have a Dawn Star, because she can track over interstellar distances,
which is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
Slip, you got some more to show?
I still have more to show. Yeah.
Yeah, he has the show too.
So Alex Nino, well, he was in the Filipino market first, but I don't know much about that at all. So he went to DC, and from DC to Marvel, and then he slowly shifted over to Warren Publishing, with Eerie and Creepy. He was in Vampirilla. He was in Eerie and Creepy. He was in this one called Goblin. And then
I got those.
They launched their their erotic science fiction series, 1984. And he is in just about every issue of 1984 and 1999.
Wow.
That's
one of my favorite magazines.
If you like his art, or actually there's lots of good artists in here. If you like good art and you don't mind really stupid, sometimes sexual stories, I grab them when they're cheap because I just love the art, but I read a few of the stories and I just stopped reading them and I just look at the art.
Just look at the art.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry, when I start reading those, I get stupid, so I don't notice they're stupid.
No, you'll see they aren't even effective in what they're supposed to do. If you know what I mean.
They're not even effective in their stupidity. That's bad.
But they really appreciated Alex Nino, so they let him do covers at last.
Ah, nice.
So
I got that one. Yeah, I got that one.
Nice.
That's his cover?
That's a cover by him.
Okay.
And one of these issues is 100% Alex Nino art, like every story in it. And they often made him the lead artist. So they really liked him. And it is at this time that he reached into the amount that I know of his career, his fullest growth as a super abstract, sort of crazily visually inventive artist. There's another cover. So after I show you these covers, I have a little slideshow because I figured it would be hard to really let you see. So Naman, can you add my other screen in?
Yeah, hold on. Oh, I gotta remove the other media. Okay. There you go. Ooh.
So I took pictures of a bunch of double page spreads. This is the only one from Marvel. This is from that Hulk issue he did with Jim Starlin. I just couldn't resist showing this because I think it's amazing.
It is
beautiful. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I have that issue. I've stared at it many times.
yeah, it's an awesome issue to own.
Yep.
In my opinion. And then here's one of many of his Warren. So most of his Warren stories in this later period feature double page spread after double page spread after, and they're just mind-boggling to try to interpret.
I love those.
They're great works of art. I don't know if they're great works of storytelling or not. But
no, I love that. Just that's not. They will not be called collage. I mean, that's not collage. I mean, that's just a.
No, it's
just mind-boggling. I mean,
it's semi-psychedelic, I'd say.
Yeah, semi-psychedelic. It's trippy. It's cosmic.
Yeah. This is the 70s, right? So
I think we're getting into the 80s now.
All right, there was some trippiness in the 80s.
Some in the 70s, some in the 80s. Late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah, look at the details on that. Wow.
Yeah, so they must have paid him enough so that he could really.
Hey, Jagular.
I'd love to get a hold of an original artwork.
Oh, Man, you
Oh
kidding me?
man.
And this is just a sample. I mean, it's
Yeah, I mean,
page.
I'll be happy with the prints, complete print, because I don't want to see the overlap.
Yeah, unfortunately, most of them have that square binding, so you can't open it up fully, and that is
Yeah,
sort
unless
of sad.
unless you have to like take it off the glue on there. So
Right, you could
Yeah.
unglue the whole.
you could unglue it, but yeah,
I guess you could. They're cheap enough. You could buy 2 copies, one to keep
I
and one
suppose.
to.
I mean, you could re-glue it too, but
Oh well, if you're the fixer.
We're not the
you don't
fixer,
have to be
right?
the
Not
fixer to
everybody can be
re-glue it.
fixer.
I mean, many of these
Anybody can
just
do
would
it.
make fantastic posters.
Oh,
Here's
you
an
bet.
example of how silly. But this is one of the stories from 1984. A womb with a view. I mean, it's just silly.
Wow, this kind of remind me of you see
Oh.
sci-fi, the weird
Right.
sci.
Yeah, he's great at these sci-fi, and it doesn't look like other people's sci-fi. It doesn't look like Wally Wood or Jack
Yep.
Kirby to me. He
Yeah.
had his
No,
own
not at all.
own unique visual style. This page is just crazy, but I think if you read it carefully, it would all make sense because that's my experience with his work.
Oh,
It
man,
reminds
I
me a
just
little
love
bit
his
of the
style.
P. Craig
I love his
Russell work on Killraven. The
True,
psychedelic
true. They
nature of
both
it,
have that
not the
psychedelic.
art per se, the psychedelic nature, the concepts.
And it's kind of like a page like this is almost like something Sterenko might have done, but
Good
it
point.
goes much further.
Yeah, good point.
Right, right.
Yeah.
You call that stylized? You call that a stylized or?
Yeah,
Yeah,
stylized,
very
yeah.
stylized.
Very stylized, I'd say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's again unique. I mean, it's not like Marvel had like the Marvel method, right? And they tried to make all the artists sort of conform to that. But this is just out there, This is
Right.
break the
Yeah, I mean,
barriers of
As
that.
as Roger was doing, you can dig and find things that are heading in this direction, but I feel like he went all the way into just this craziness. And in some of these, I think he's using different kinds of washes and brushes and stuff. Like these swirling lines here. I mean, that's just, I don't know, it's amazing. But it definitely gives you a sense of alienness and outer spaceness.
Agreed. Yeah.
So it's interesting to see over time how he became more and more abstract. He also worked in animation, and he worked on that Atlantis animated movie. I think it was a Disney movie.
Yeah.
And I don't know what other animated things he did. And every once in a while, once he went into animation, every few years he'd come back and do some big comic book story, and then go back to other things.
I'm sure that took a lot of time.
Also, kind of remind me of Kim Jong-gi.
You're right. It does remind me of that work, which I'm just beginning to dig into that. Yeah, it does remind me of his work. Maybe Kim Jong-il, or maybe there's other Japanese artists. I assume this is before Kim Jong-il.
Yeah. I mean,
It has to
definitely.
be,
Yeah. But I mean, he had to learn from somebody. I mean, he had to get inspired by somebody. So.
Well, and I'm sure that Alex Nino was getting inspiration from somebody too.
Yeah.
I'm just not sure who. But so that's the end of that. You can take that part off the screen. And I have a little more, but do you have more stuff to show, Nauman, or?
No, I'm kind of done with what I could show.
Yeah, I'm done as well. So.
All right, so
So I think he also did quite a bit of illustration, and I don't know. I don't know if you guys remember these paperback books called Weird Heroes.
I do remember that cover.
Yeah, I remembered them. Yeah.
He did a lot of work for Weird Heroes. It was always said on the top Byron Press or Byron Price. He was kind of a book packager who worked in science fiction book publishing and liked comics. So he would get science fiction writers, like this one has Ben Bova, Edmund Hamilton, Philip Jose Farmer, Ron Goulart, And then he would get team them up with comic book artists. So here are some Alex Nino illustrations to a story by Edmund Hamilton.
Wow.
Wow, that's some heavy hitters as far as sci-fi writers goes.
Yeah.
Oof.
And so I think his work works well as one panel illustrations because of its kind of decorative quality.
Agreed. Yeah.
So there's that. In this one, who was he teamed up with? Shoot. Oh, this one, it was a Ron Goulart story. There's the illustration there. And I thought this illustration was kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Know that stuff.
And I think that Byron Price really liked his work. So then they put out whole novels. And this whole novel was illustrated, full of illustrations by Alex. And sometimes his he's kind of getting a little more minimalistic here, but it's also
I was going to say that. Yeah,
there's the sense of space and light and shadow just very subtly put in.
Yeah, it could be though that he was just on a really strict deadline.
It could be, but I think it's a stylistic thing.
Okay.
That he was going through, but I might be wrong.
I mean, I like how he draw them. I know everybody's impressed with the Kirby's all the mechanics and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed with his. This guy's
yeah, he has his own way. So yeah, this one is called The Quest of the Gypsy, so it's not as science fictional. And he also illustrated this one called The Eye of the Vulture, also written by Ron Goulart. So that cover must be by him also.
You can argue with Metarog, Jackson. No worries. I was just proffering a theory. I don't have anything to back it up per se.
Whoa, love that.
Now that is detailed. Oof.
Yeah, that's
wow.
That's back to his more detailed style.
That's got to take a while there. I mean,
I'm surprised that there's like some kind of prints that's sold by just prints.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just flipping through here trying to. So the other illustrations are more simpler than that front piece.
Roger, I missed that.
Like a Tarzan scene.
Well, I was going to say that during this era, original art was generally not kept as a general rule.
Right.
It was if anything, it was kept by the publisher, and then later destroyed. Honestly, which is a shame.
Gosh, that would be horrible.
Yeah, that's why there's so few original. That's so little original art around, because most of it was destroyed.
Well, I know that he did all that work for Warren. I know that Neil Adams stopped working for Warren because they would not give him back his art. So
his art, yeah, and that was
Warren owned all that art.
Yeah, that was very common. Yeah, that's why I said when we found that Charlton work of Kim Sang-ho, that may be all there ever has been.
That was miraculous that it somehow survived.
Yeah. So somehow that guy came up with it, and notice there were no covers there. So somebody has those covers.
I bet he would love to have those back.
Oh, you bet.
Yeah,
you bet. Listen, if we can get a hold of him, I'd be honored to give him one of those back.
Yeah, even two.
But I'll give him one.
I would split it with him. So one of the times he came back to comics, he did this graphic novel for DC called Space Clusters.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yes.
And he had Arthur Byron Cover, who was also involved with the Weird Heroes. So there's a cover he's doing, and I think it's a bit less detailed in color. I don't know if it credits a colorist or if he was the colorist. It just says art by Alex Nino, so maybe he did his own colors here.
Wow.
And he did a book at Image, and in the 80s, he did some book. What was it called? Like Alex Nino's Dreams or Alex Nino's Imagination. That was just even more wild. books, and I could not dig those up at the moment.
Wow, I love those.
Yeah, man. That's
Can I
that's
get?
cool.
I need to write that down. What is that one?
It's called Space
Clusters.
Clusters.
Space Cluster.
Yeah, I've seen that
um,
somewhere.
It's DC's
I'll come back
graphic
to the
novel
video.
number 7.
Yeah, I'll come back
Okay.
to the.
I might have seen that at a show and forgot to pick it up. That's what I'm thinking.
It seems similar to what he was doing in black and white magazines, but maybe with less lines because he knew it was going to be color.
Yeah.
Again, can get very abstract.
Yeah. But just man, gorgeous stuff. Fantasy World of Alex Nino Portfolio, says Jackson.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. 1975, so that's pretty early on.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, that used to be a popular thing, these portfolios by popular artists.
Yeah.
And it would be like a limited run or something, like 500 signed copies or something.
Yeah. There are a few out there, but they're few and far between.
Yeah, well, because they were collectors. They were designed to be collectors' items. They were
Well,
designed.
would they be like this for like a Sano Kim or some other artist?
Doubtful that exists. Yeah.
Oh, man.
I know that, obviously Steranko has, and a few other artists have portfolios.
Barry
Frazetta
Smith,
has one.
Bernie Wrightston.
Bernie
people-
Wrightson has one.
People
Yeah.
who had a name recognition in the 70s.
Yeah. Buscema has one.
Yeah. And you would see them for sale in the more professional fanzines at the time.
Right.
That's how you would find them.
But yeah, they're few and far between. Maybe Barry Windsor Smith, I'm thinking, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, Barry Windsor Smith did a couple of those. I think for a while he made his living off of those.
Oh, okay.
When he quit comics.
So
Well-
yeah, great stuff, man. Great stuff.
Hey, gentlemen, thanks for and I hope everybody look for these shows at these 4 different channels we have. Otaku channel. Oh, wait a second, we got Otaku here.
Hey,
Otaku here.
Hey,
hey, Morum.
hey, fellas.
Hey.
How's
So-
everyone doing tonight?
Well, we're about to close the shop, but if you have someone,
Oh, okay.
Emily?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. All right. So we have a last minute show from Otaku Yang. Of course, he's going. Who else is going to show?
All right, you want me to come with you?
Who else is going to
No,
show?
I wonder. I
Yes,
have like no idea whatsoever.
So, yeah, I have like a little short box of Jim Lee stuff I can show off. I won't show everything off.
I've never heard of him. Who is this Jim?
Who's that? Is that an artist?
Yeah, he's a.
I thought he was some corporate guy. I didn't know he was an artist.
Are you sure he's not like a martial artist?
I guess we'll just, I think the one I want to show off first is this issue here.
I didn't know he did Conan.
He
Did you know he
did.
did
This
Conan,
is
Flippy?
an early. This is one of his early works at Marvel.
I knew about it because Otaku has talked about it before, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
I learned about it through Otaku.
That's good stuff. That is
So I
good
need to
stuff.
get-
right
This
there.
this is actually his first collaboration with Scott Williams.
Oh, interesting.
Mm.
This cover.
That collaboration is still going on today.
Right. It's a very, it's a relationship that's lasted their entire careers and continues to go strong today. So it's almost like a brand. I mean, if I doubt Jim Lee does much outside of, working with other inkers. They're basically married at the hip now.
Yes. Scott Williams. So Scott Williams still did that one then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Some Punisher War Journal.
Mm-hmm.
I like that one.
He didn't do too many Spider-Mans in his career, but he definitely could have.
Yeah.
Would have been cool to see him do
I
more
see.
other
That
characters.
felt a bit like the Ditko Spider-Man. I like that.
Oh yeah, yeah. Very classic look there. This is another Punisher War Journal cover.
So you have a stream tonight, right?
I do. And yeah, this is his last work on the Punisher War Journal.
Yeah, I have that one.
Did he do
Fittingly,
interiors on the Punisher or just the covers?
he did the interiors on the Punisher as well.
Oh,
Do you show the number one? Number one, he did the work of that one too.
On number one, he I think inked for Carl Potts, and then I think from issue I want to say 3 or 4, he took over the artist duties, and that's really what.
6 and 7? Did you do 6 and 7? Did you do
Yeah,
6
well,
and 7?
6 and 7 are famous because 6 is I think the first time Punisher meets Wolverine.
Right.
Yeah, and that's one of the so that Conan cover was the first Jim Lee Scott Williams, and then they follow it up with that iconic cover where the Wolverine has his claws through Punisher's suit. Yeah, that's also an early collaboration. Probably their most, their earliest work that just got them the sort of the notoriety at that time. This is a Punisher Armory. So yes, I am going on tonight, and it's kind of to kick off AAPI Heritage Month, and so yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting topic. I've kind of loosely prepared something, so hopefully you guys can jump on for a little bit afterwards.
What time are you planning to come on?
Around 8 p.m.
8 p.m.
So Pacific.
Oh. So 11 my time.
Yeah. So it might be too late for the East Coasters.
The East Coasters can catch it after the fact.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It does look like a very interesting topic, so I'm definitely going to want to rewatch there.
So I think I in the past might have mistakenly said that Jim Lee's first work on Wonder Woman was another book. This is actually his first work. It's just a cover.
Stan Lee and Jim Lee.
Yeah, this is a Stan
Lee
Wonder Woman story, which is pretty cool. He did a whole series of DC characters. At around this time, this was the late 90s. If I'm not mistaken, the late 90s.
Yeah, it was 90s, yeah.
And then we have on the back cover.
I honestly, I didn't like them, except for I kept the Jim Lee one, but I didn't like them.
You didn't like these stories?
Very good reads. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only read a few of them, and I was not impressed.
Yeah.
I think
he had lost his mojo by that.
Yeah, I think he tried to see how he could do it like as different as possible from the DC versions.
Right.
And some of them just did not. I thought some were interesting. They had some concepts that were interesting, but yeah, most of them were just not well done.
You think he did that intentionally just to kind of DC?
Yeah, maybe intentionally, or maybe that was just my perception. But I was like, wow, these are just like really different.
He didn't put too much effort to it. Yeah,
it didn't seem like it just seemed like he just was a contrarian, just hey, how can I make it very different from the original, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think I think one of the stories I read by Stan was ASM 400. It was the death of Aunt May, and he had come back to the title to write that one because it was such a key pivotal event. And I just remember the tone of that story being really, really it was just it seemed like he was looking back at his time, his career at Marvel, and kind of like saying his farewells, even though he would stay with the company many, many years. It just felt like,
Yeah, right. It's not in a really active role, just sort of a
Like that
Or
would
a
be his,
figurehead, I suppose.
He was already in his 40s when he started the Marvel Universe. So
Yeah.
you can just imagine that
Yeah.
the tank was empty by the time they brought him back for
yeah.
these occasional events.
hmm And he was so pivotal in giving, again, through Marvel, again, Jim Lee starting there, just giving so many Asian American artists an opportunity, which really, like Jay Lee got his start at Marvel, Los Portacio, Jim Lee, those are the high profile guys, but just a bunch of, opportunities for artists of color. And then, that kind of led to the normalization of these, diverse creators joining the comic book industry. And now it's like, now it's, it's such a global industry.
Right.
We really have people from all parts of the world contributing to our favorite stories and characters. So it's great to see.
We were talking about like these artists that are primarily from the 70s and so forth. How there were trailblazers in a sense.
True. Yeah.
And I know they inspired a lot of later artists, and the Filipinos were ubiquitous and as far as the magazine eras. And I can only imagine, when you would see, like an Alex Nino, Nestor Redondo, something like that, you'd be like, oh, I can do that. If they can do that, I can do that, and inspire, on down the line.
Absolutely.
I mean, I see a lot of, I was noticing when Slippy was showing those Alex Nino stuff, I was going, oh, that reminds me of a lot of Kim
Jung-gi.
Huh?
Kim Jung-gi.
Yeah, Kim Jong-gi. I can't believe I forgot his name. Anyway, Kim Jong-gi, there are a lot of similarities. How detailed he gets as a, because he draws the whole panel, right? And I could see Alex Nino doing that kind of stuff, actually. So,
well, and maybe there was something in the Asian art tradition that fed into both of those guys' work, that I wouldn't be familiar with, but that came from their cultures.
we love panel drawings. We love the panel drawing. That's Changpung, the Changpung. So we love the panel drawings.
Comics, were kind of global because it was, news printing presses, these types of technologies were pretty, it was in every really industrialized nation. And so the concept of the comic strip, it wasn't just isolated to Western countries. It was actually, very vibrant in Asian countries as well. I know the first Korean comic was, back in the 19th century is when the first newsprint type animations appeared. Same for Japan. Japan's always been in love with comic strips, much like the U.S.
Where the big eyes come from, right?
That influence from America and Europe's creation of that, and they had the Japanese versions. And of course, after the war, the manga industry just flourished. It really became the medium for kind of rebuilding and just being a source of escape for the youth at that time, because there was so much economic recovery and just difficulty from post-war rebuilding that was there. The children were really, their only escape was to read these comic books, and there were a group of creators very dedicated to making sure those were published week to week. And now we have this huge global manga industry that's probably the top in terms of content and creation. The volume in the manga industry way overshadows what's being produced here in the US. So it's an interesting, transition that the Japanese manga or comic book industry went through. And when you say manga, it literally is just the translation to comic books. It's the same concept. Yeah, it's not anything too different. But the
I learned that
styles
from my daughter.
are very
Yeah.
different. The format, the styles. I'd say the tone of storytelling. I think Japan tries to, from early on, it just, because there were so many lessons to be learned with Japan's approach to imperialism, they were very thoughtful in teaching the young generation with the stories. They wanted to teach values and morals and lessons so that history wouldn't repeat itself. So you just had that as part of its unique DNA from the onset. So yeah, I think Japanese manga, you tend to see the slow stories go at a slower pace, and you tend to see more kind of lessons mixed into the genre and the format than American comics. Not to say American comics is void of that. It definitely has that, but I think it's a little bit more action driven because that's what the readership.
You see some of the Japanese mangas nowadays. They have a fantastic.
They're very emotional stories. Yeah, I mean, it's like it tries to touch on your heartstrings every chance it gets, and
even like something like the go game. You know how they draw the goal? It's like go, and then when they draw it, there's action in go game.
It's like they take everyday mundane things and try to make them dramatic. So
make it larger than life. Yeah.
But but you gotta be fail to, because Mickey Mouse started it all, because the big eye stuff comes from Mickey Mouse generation. So and it's still stuck. That big eye is still stuck.
I'm sure you gentlemen are familiar with Astro Boy, in Japanese, right?
Sure. I've read some Astro Boy manga.
Yes.
Yeah,
I've heard people say the creator of that is like the Jack Kirby of manga.
Absolutely.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. Tezuka Osamu, he is the father of the modern industry. And he created so many like iconic pieces of work, but Astro Boy is probably his most famed, claim to fame. And Astro Boy was so big when I was growing up. I don't know, but I'm sure you remember too.
Yeah, it was Atom.
Yeah, Atom was like big in Asia and probably here in the United States as well. It ran during the 60s, but they've done so many reiterations of it. Even there's a 2000, I think, 1 or 11 version of it as well. They constantly try to introduce it to new generations, and the story hasn't really changed. But yeah, it's basically this boy who loses his life, and then his father recreates him as a robot, and he's this powerful robot that kind of fights, bad guys. But at the essence is, this robot who is like Pinocchio. He's trying to be human. He's kind of questioning what it means to be a person and trying to do good deeds and please people. So
hey, Christina,
it's a great story.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, agreed.
Hey, and anyway, you gotta prepare for the show coming up, right?
I do. Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna be on at 8, but I'm gonna the topic tonight. It's it's an interesting one, and I'll just kind of tease it here. During the golden age of Superman comics, Superman was introduced right before the U.S. Engaged in World War II. Right. And much of its early run was actually during America's engagement with Japan and Germany. And so there was a lot of nationalists, sort of, anti-Axis sort of sentiments. And there's just very sort of racist depictions of the Japanese. In fact, I'm going to focus on a specific comic where they're like promoting, hey, slap a Jap, these kinds of sort of...
Thanks, Christina. Thanks, sweetheart.
These kinds of concepts were being promoted. not, but it wasn't just in comic books. It was all throughout because
Yeah.
they were, you know, America was trying to promote the war effort, and so we're going to talk about that. And then I'm gonna basically kind of try to write things up by saying, you know, like, you know, Superman is racist past, but we have to come to terms with it. And how do we do that? And I'm gonna, you know, kind of show off some works where modern creators did their best to address the issues, and so that's kind of where I'm going to land. Should be interesting.
Definitely sounds
Sounds
interesting.
pretty intense.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good.
I look forward to
Okay,
watching.
again, gents, appreciate you guys showing up today.
Absolutely.
Wonderful works of. Can you name those names? Kim-san, Nino.
Alex Nino.
Alex
or
Alex Nino.
Nino. Nino.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And who was that other guy?
Jim Lee.
Was it Bruce Lee? No, Jim Lee.
Jim Lee.
Stanley.
And then Greg LaRoque.
Greg LaRoque.
Greg LaRoque, yeah.
Yeah.
Under the channels.
Anyway, so thanks for doing this. I appreciate it. And guys, please try to support the Asian Pacific Islander month this whole month. Both there are 4 channels working together. I think five channels working together, and so yeah, looking forward to it. I'm going to jump in some of these. I cannot jump in all of them, but yeah, Otaku Hyang, K-pop, Jeff, and E-Man. Anyway, thanks for coming up. Have a good night, people.
Night all.
Thanks for a fun show.
All right,
Yeah,
guys.
thanks for having me on. It's a lot of fun.